cold fronts seem to be rolling in on an almost weekly basis at the moment, so it's time for some heartier fare. Welcome to Lockdown Recipes for Disaster. I'm Pete Goffe-Wood. Hungarian Goulash has got to be one of my all-time favorite stews. I was very privileged enough to have worked a week in Budapest where I had the most memorable goulash. It was made with tripe. The one we're making today, don't worry, this has no tripe in it. I'm making just straight beef, but it's an interesting dish. The goulash actually means herdsman, and this is a traditional soup that the herdsmen used to make when they were out in the mountains tending the cattle. They used to make these massive stews. It's always been beef, but trust me, traditionally every part of the beef often goes into this. We'll be sticking strictly to some chuck because that's my favorite cut for stews. But it's a glorious, it's a rich soup, and it's heavily based with peppers and paprika. Now, paprika is not hot, it's perfumed, it's got a bitterness, it's a beautiful spice. It adds perfume, it adds flavor, it adds depth to a stew, not heat. If you want to add chili, by all means do so. But traditionally, it's not a hot soup, it's a flavorful, rich, gorgeous dish, and I'm going to show you exactly how it's done. So what do we need to make a good hearty goulash? Sliced onions. I'm using red because I have them. You can use regular onions. I've got blanched tomatoes here. I've taken the skins off. I don't want those horrible skins floating on the top of the stew. Peppers, an integral part. I don't like the bitterness that normal peppers give, so I've blistered these and taking the skins off. I think it gives a sweeter, richer feel to the soup. Caraway seeds, tomato paste, the all-important paprika, garlic, salt, pepper, beef stock. You can add a little bit of wine to this. Traditionally, actually, it's white wine that gets added, not red wine. And then I've got some chuck from Food Lovers Market. Try not to use stewing beef. Stewing beef has got no sinew in it and no fat, and unfortunately sometimes you cook it in a stew a long time, it dries out completely. So you want to look for something that's got a little bit of fat on it, a little bit of sinew. That sinew is collagen, that will break down when you cook it and just add flavor to this. So now you know when you see this kind of fat, the beef is not going to be dry when you cook it for a long period of time. I like to use chuck brisket's another good cut. Ask your butcher for the specific cut you're after. Simply taking stewing beef, you'll never see a shred of fat on it, and it really isn't the tastiest of meats. Let's begin, as always, hot pot. I'm using some olive oil. Now I just want to brown the meat. As always, do it in batches rather than trying to overcrowd the pan. If you put too much meat in to begin with, and all it's going to do is drop the temperature in the pan, and the meat's going to begin to boil. Okay, so we've got a little bit of color on the meat. Let's just take that out. And what's very important, of course, is this lovely meaty residue that's left in the pan. I think we'll probably need a touch more oil. And the first thing I'm going to throw in is my caraway seeds. I want these it's about a teaspoon of caraway seeds. I just want these to fry off in the actual oil, help them release their flavor. In go our onions. And these, we want to get a nice bit of color on. We want to brown these onions. The more color on this, the more caramel, the more flavor that adds to the soup. Onions starting to get a nice bit of color on. As I said, they've taken all that beefy residue off the bottom of the pan. Now we're going to add some garlic. Lots of lovely minced garlic. So our garlic is now frying off. And I'm going to add my tomato paste now. About a tablespoon of tomato paste. This will just add a bit of richness and color and also help to thicken up the stew. So next up, our all-important defining paprika. About 3 tablespoons. You can already see in the bottom of this pan, get an idea of the color that this is going to end up. Look at that richness. Next in, our tomatoes, our blanched tomatoes. Again, these tomatoes are also to help thicken the soup. They're going to break down as the soup cooks, as the stew cooks, and help to form a nice thick sauce. Next up, our roasted peppers, our peppers that we've blistered and skinned. Look, taking a nice one. And of course now, in goes our stock. We're now going to add our beef back in. I'm just going to give a little smattering of salt and pepper. We just want to help the salt and pepper help now to develop the flavors. That's pretty much all we can do for now. We want to get this to come up to the boil. We'll then turn it down to a simmer, put the lid on, and let it cook for a good 90 minutes without the lid on. We'll take the lid off and let the last 30 minutes let it thicken by reducing. So you can see this has been cooking away. Look at that, it's reduced down. It's nice and rich. The beef is lovely and soft. And see what I mean by you could have this as a soup or a stew depending on how you like the consistency. Let's get ready to serve. And I'll bring our bowl up here so we don't make too much of a mess. Then we have it now, a simple garnish for this, some chopped parsley, chopped flat beef parsley, and a nice dollop of sour cream or creme fraiche. That is winter in a bowl. Hungarian goulash is peasant food at its very, very best. It's rich, it's hearty, it's flavoursome. Crusty bread is all you need as an accompanist, whether you serve this as a soup or a stew. It is rich, it's gorgeous, it has all of those magical things you want from hearty winter fare. Sitting in front of a fire with a big glass of red wine, Hungarian goulash will satisfy every single time. If you enjoyed this video, please click like on Instagram and Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and until we see you again, may the sauce be with you.